Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And if you're a true General Hospital fan, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started with today's video. According to the General Hospital, GH, spoilers for Friday, July 10th, several ex-partners will reconcile, while Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thiebaud, will confront another unexpected challenge. Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, will also connect some dots, which might ruin everything for Willow Kane, Caitlin McMullen, if she continues to probe. When Friday's episode begins, Ava Jerome, Maura West, will question Ethan Lovett, Nathan Dean, about if he is indeed Phoebe's, Luna and Lucia Creighton, biological father, so she will put him on the spot about his latest revelation at the gallery. Britt will respond to some shocking news. It appears that Britt is going to learn that Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, has been cleared of all charges and is returning home. Britt's freedom is also coming shortly, so she may ponder if she still has a chance to be romantically involved with Jason. Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, will encounter questioning and rage from Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens-Bruning, at her house. Carly hid Valentine Cassadine, James Patrick Stewart, in her attic after his escape and later established a romance with him, so Lulu will have plenty of reasons to explode. Of course, the main cause will be Carly's choice to bring Charlotte Cassadine, Bluesy Burke, over for Valentine's visits. Carly persuaded Charlotte to lie to her mother, putting her in risk, and as a result, Lulu will unleash her wrath. Valentine was most likely told by John Oliver, that Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, had negotiated for his and Jason's release in exchange for her help in bringing Cassius Faison, Ryan Pavey, down. Valentine might swing by Jocelyn's room to express his gratitude and see if there is anything he can do for her in return. Jocelyn will certainly make a request for someone on Friday's episode, so stay tuned to find out what it is. Across town, Liesl Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, will seek aid from Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, potentially leading to a disagreement about Cassius and his involvement in Ross Cullum's, Andrew Hawks, and Jen Sidwell's, Carlo Rhoda, disaster. Anna will also appear anxious as she presses Albrecht for evidence of what is true, thus she should have some unanswered questions about Caesar Faison, Anders Hove, and what she witnessed while in captivity. Valentine may be the next in line for a meeting with Anna, as GH rumors indicate that some exes will get together for a close moment. Although Valentine will accuse Cullum for playing with Anna's head, her images of Peter August, Wes Ramsey, will not go away. Peter will continue to torment Anna and lead her down a dark path. Will Valentine pick up on any strange vibes? Valentine might be the first to notice that something unusual is still going on with Anna. Next, Elizabeth will reveal her notion that Drew Kane's Cameron Matheson stroke is tied to Jack Brennan's Chris McKenna own medical incident. Liz suspects that Drew's rehabilitation is hampered by something in the home, given Brennan's quick recovery at Turning Woods. It's possible that Elizabeth may urge Willow to get Drew out of there, making Willow anxious in Friday's episode. The same goes for Brennan and Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, but they'll have to do their best to address Liz's concerns. Willow is the one who drugged Drew into his locked-in state, but she needs to find a solution quickly because she's running out of the paralytic. The black box containing the leverage Willow requires hasn't been found since Cullum stole it, but Brennan believes it may be on Spoon Island somewhere. Meanwhile, Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, will reveal his frame-up allegations to Brooklyn Quartermain Amanda Seton, forcing her to decide how much she is willing to divulge about the Willow problem. According to General Hospital teasers, Chase will face some tragedy, but Brooklyn may not provide him with a complete story. Brooklyn may admit to sending Lucy Lynn Herring to give a statement against Willow, but she may conceal the fact that she asked Brick, Stephen A. Smith, to tamper with Willow's car's GPS. Brooklyn may also hide the information that she was the actual driver that hit the guardrail and sped away from the accident that night. Will Chase figure it out anyway? How serious is the impending marriage crisis? Whatever the case may be, Brooklyn is in for more troubles, so don't miss out. General Hospital had always thrived on its intricate webs of love, treachery, and second chances, but now the corridors hummed with a greater electricity than usual. The summer heat pressed on the windows of Port Charles, reflecting the simmering tensions within. Elizabeth Weber walked around the nurses' station with her usual calm efficiency, her scrubs pristine and her dark hair tucked back, but her thoughts were elsewhere. She'd spent the night repeating old memories that refused to be buried. Across town, in the Metro Court, old flames were ready to clash in the most unexpected way. Jason Morgan had returned to Port Charles some weeks ago, his presence a ghost from the past that no one could ignore. He and Elizabeth had once experienced something profound, a love born in crisis, tested by loss, and eventually sacrificed for the sake of their children and the perils that seemed to follow him. Today, as he entered the hotel lobby for a meeting with Sunny, their gazes locked across the busy room. Time appeared to stutter. "Jason," Elizabeth whispered softly, approaching him when he finished speaking. Her speech held the weight of years of silence. She wasn't here by chance. A patient reference had led her to the Metro Court for a quick consultation, but seeing him seemed like fate twisting the knife. He turned, his blue eyes as steady as usual, yet a hint of something deeper crossed his face. "Liz, you look good." The words were simple, yet they contained layers. They stood there, the lobby commotion diminishing to a faint hum. Memories surged back, stolen times in her old house, the way he'd shielded Jake, the evenings they discussed futures that never came true. "I heard about what happened with the family business," she explained, her tone cautious. "Are you okay?" It wasn't just politeness. Elizabeth could always see through Jason's barriers, even when he erected them too high for anyone else to climb. He nodded and looked around before directing her to a quieter place near the bar. "It's complicated. It always is. But seeing you, it reminds me why I keep coming back to this town." Their hands brushed as he pulled out a chair for her, and the spark was palpable. Former fires rekindled in the midst of a bustling afternoon. Classic Port Charles. They spoke for nearly an hour, skirting the borders of who they previously were. Jason admits to being drawn back to former allegiance, despite the perils that remained. Elizabeth talked about her boys, her work, and the stability she'd worked so hard to achieve. Yet, behind it all, the reunion sparked something uneasy in both of them. As they parted, a promise to meet again soon hung in the air, but neither was ready to explain what it meant. Back at General Hospital, Elizabeth's shift proceeded, but her thoughts remained on that encounter. She checked on patients with her usual compassion, but when she saw Drew Kane in the hallway near the administrative offices, she realized she had to intervene. Drew had recently experienced his own storms, identity difficulties, corporate struggles, and a tangled romantic history that had left him guarded. His posture was stiff as he reviewed charts for a foundation project. "Drew," she yelled out, grabbing him before he could escape inside a meeting. "Do you have a minute?" he asked, smiling warmly. "For you? Always, Liz. What's on your mind?" She took him into a tiny consulting room before locking the door behind them. The atmosphere felt cozy, with a subtle antiseptic fragrance and a quiet buzz from fluorescent lights. Elizabeth had known Drew long enough to recognize the flaws underlying his confident demeanor. Drew leaned against the counter, crossed his arms. "I heard about the latest offer from the board. The move to expand the outreach program. It's risky, but it's right. You should do it. Push for it. Don't let politics hold you back. You've been talking to people, haven't you? It's not that simple. There's resistance from the investors. They want safer bets." "That's exactly why you need to fight for it," she said, her voice growing stronger. Elizabeth had always been a support system for everyone around her, even when her own life was tumultuous. "You've got the vision, Drew. Remember what you told me after everything with Oscar? Life's too short for half measures. This move could change lives here in Port Charles. Kids in underserved areas, families dealing with chronic conditions. It's personal for you. For all of us." He looked at her, the weight of her words sinking into him. Drew held Elizabeth in high regard. Their friendship had survived scandals and heartbreaks. "Are you pushing me because you believe in this, or because you need a distraction from your own problems?" His tone was soft and inquiring, not accusatory. She sighed and sat on the edge of the desk. "Both, maybe. Seeing Jason today, it stirred up old feelings. But that's not why I'm here. You're good at this, Drew. Strategic, compassionate. The hospital needs you to make that move. I'll back you up in the next staff meeting if it helps." We've lost too many good initiatives to hesitation." Their conversation stretched, filled with strategy and quiet encouragement. Drew talked about his doubts, the fear of overextending, the ghosts of past failures. Elizabeth countered with examples from her nursing experience, describing how taking chances saved lives. In the end, he nodded emphatically. "All right. You've convinced me. I'll schedule the proposal for next week." "Thanks, Liz. I don't know what I'd do without friends like you." As they left ways, a soft warmth lingered. Elizabeth's push was more than simply professional. It was the type of nudge that reminded Drew of why he remained involved in the community. They had no idea that this decision would have far-reaching consequences for partnerships throughout town. Meanwhile, in another side of the hospital, Dr. Britt Westbourne was going through her own seismic change. Britt had always been a force, brilliant, witty, and fiercely independent, despite her health issues and problematic family relationships. Today, she sat in her office reviewing test findings, her blonde hair falling across her face as she frowned at the screen. The unexpected twist in her story had arrived like a thunderclap, a confidential test result from a routine examination that altered everything. She mumbled, "Impossible," yet the numbers did not lie. Britt had been dealing with lasting consequences from her past, but this? A viable pregnancy, despite all odds, with layers of secrecy around it. She had not expected or planned for this. What about the father? A ghost from a brief encounter months ago, whose identity confused every ethical line in her life. Her phone vibrated. Her mother, Liesel, was most likely sensing trouble. Britt disregarded it for now. She required time to process. Standing, she walked the small office, her mind racing with possibilities. Termination? Keeping it? The hazards to her health, the criticism from peers, and how this would link her with Port Charles's most prominent families. Britt had endured worse, her transplant, betrayals, and even death threats. But motherhood? It felt like the final twist in a life already written for drama. She stepped out into the hall and nearly collided with Elizabeth. "Britt, you look like you've seen a ghost," Elizabeth replied, anxiety on her face. Britt faked a smirk, but her eyes betrayed her. "Something like that. Life's full of surprises, isn't it? One minute you're dodging bullets, the next." She stopped off, unwilling to reveal all. Instead, she shifted. "Heard you were chatting with Drew earlier. Are you pushing him on that project?" Elizabeth nodded, knowing Britt's reluctance, but appreciating it. "He needs it. We all do. What's going on with you?" "Really?" Britt considered confiding. Their history was tumultuous, rivalries over men, professional conflicts, but they had found common ground in survival. "Let's just say my world's about to get a lot more complicated. A new twist I didn't see coming." She placed a hand subtly over her abdomen, the move going unnoticed. "But I'll handle it. Westbournes always do." The two women exchanged a brief, understanding glance before parting ways. Britt returned to her office and pulled out more files. The pregnancy was more than just medical. It was linked to deeper secrets, possibly related to recent corporate manipulations involving Drew's foundation or Jason's reemergence. Twists like this in Port Charles are never isolated. She started taking notes, her mind shifting into Dr. Gear as her heart struggled with the personal tempest. As the afternoon progressed, the hospital became alive with interconnected stories. Jason took a cappuccino in the cafe while thinking about Elizabeth. Their reunion was brief but powerful, reigniting fires he thought had been extinguished. He wrote her a simple message. "Dinner soon? No pressure." Her response was quick. "I'd like that." Former flames didn't always go out completely in this town. Drew, meantime, spoke with hospital executives, armed with Elizabeth's support. He gave preliminary ideas for the move, and his confidence grew. "This isn't just expansion, it's community investment that has saved me more times than I can count." The room replied cautiously optimistically, laying the groundwork for larger battles to come. Britt's secret lingered beneath the surface. She met with a close colleague off the record to weigh possibilities. The twist brought both terror and a peculiar hope. Perhaps this was her opportunity to reinvent her story, free of the shadows of her past with the Cassidines and others. The evening dropped on Port Charles, casting golden light through the hospital's windows. Elizabeth finished her duty, reflecting on the day. Pushing Drew felt appropriate. Reuniting with Jason sparked her soul, and Britt's implied problems reminded her that everyone has responsibilities. She returned home to her boys, but not before stopping by Metro Court again. Jason waited, as if he knew she'd arrive. Their talk continued where it left off, but with more depth. "I never stopped caring, Liz," he confessed quietly while sharing appetizers. "Even when I had to walk away." "I know," she said, her hand touching his across the table. "But timing, it's everything here." They didn't get much done that night, but the reunion promised more chapters. Drew called her later, thrilled with the development. "Your push made the difference. Thank you again." And Britt, alone in her apartment, glanced at the positive test again. The new twist would unfold gradually, intertwining with the others in typical General Hospital fashion, alliances shifting, secrets threatening to burst, and romances rekindled among the upheaval. The darkness deepened, but the stories had only just begun. Port Charles never slept, nor did its dramas. Elizabeth drifted off to think about possibilities. Drew plotted his next moves with renewed determination. Britt built her defenses for the journey ahead, and Jason watched over the village from the shadows. Former flames, bold actions, and surprising twists, these were the strands that held them all together day after day. Port Charles was filled with tension and unexpected emotions as old relationships returned and new secrets threatened to upend everything. A sequence of surprising incidents occurred on Friday, leaving numerous residents to reconsider their futures. Elizabeth Weber found herself caught up in yet another complex scenario. Liz had been watching the effects of Drew Kane's recent decisions on those around him with increasing concern. She knew Drew was driven to carry out his goals, but she also understood that his decisions could have long-term consequences for the people he cared about. Following a lengthy discussion with several close friends, Elizabeth felt it was time to be honest with Drew. She approached him with caution, aware that he had been under immense pressure. Drew confessed that he was attempting to do what he thought was right, even if others disagreed with his approach. Liz, on the other hand, urged him to rethink whether his most recent decision was genuinely in the best interests of anyone. Their talk quickly turned emotional. Elizabeth reminded Drew that in Port Charles, making significant decisions too quickly often had unintended repercussions. She emphasized that secrets, misunderstandings, and rash decisions had already ruined far too many people's lives. Drew listened carefully, but it was evident he was struggling internally. Meanwhile, another unexpected reunion was taking place elsewhere in town. After a long period of separation, two ex-lovers reconnected. The reunion began awkwardly, with unspoken emotions and memories of warmer times. Both people had moved on in different ways, but seeing each other again rekindled emotions they thought had long been suppressed. Their talk began cordially, centered on recent events and mutual connections. However, while they talked, old chemistry slowly reappeared. Shared memories led to laughing, which led to more in-depth observations on the decisions that had divided them in the beginning. One of them stated that, despite everything that had happened, there were always unanswered doubts about what could have been. The confession prompted a period of silence between them. It was clear that neither person had totally closed the door on their past. The prospect of restored passion now appeared quite real. Meanwhile, several residents witnessed the unexpected reunion and instantly began speculating on what it might signify. Former connections are rarely forgotten in Port Charles. Friends and family members wondered if history was going to repeat itself, or if this reunion would finally bring the closure both persons required. At the same time, reports about Britt were spreading quickly. Many felt Britt's narrative had come to an end, but new events hinted otherwise. Whispers swirled throughout town about a mystery twist involving her identity. The ambiguities sparked both excitement and fear among people who had once known her. Some questioned whether Britt was somehow connected to an unexpected return or if new facts about her history was about to emerge. Others feared that long-buried secrets would soon be revealed. The mere mention of Britt's name triggered deep recollections for some residents. She had left an indelible mark on many lives, and the prospect of a new chapter featuring her sparked limitless curiosity. As details became lacking, hypotheses multiplied. Could someone connected to Britt have been hiding in plain sight? Was there a secret she hadn't revealed? Or did someone use her name as part of a bigger plan? The enigma grew deeper with each passing hour. Back at the hospital, Elizabeth grappled with her anxieties about Drew. She cared strongly about the people involved and was concerned that his determination would lead him down a perilous path. Despite her admiration for his goals, she couldn't ignore the warning flags that appeared around him. During another passionate talk, Liz encouraged Drew to calm down and reconsider his objectives. She reminded him that true strength is frequently derived from patience and understanding rather than determined action. Drew admired her candor, but felt uneasy. He stated that he felt stuck by the circumstances and that backing away now might lead to much worse issues. Nonetheless, Elizabeth's words certainly impacted him. For the first time in days, Drew began to wonder